question number 12, David Seymour.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Prime Minister and reads as follows. What are some of her government's policy achievements?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Order.
Mr Speaker, thank you for the use of the word some. I wouldn't want to wish to keep the House longer than I am able. Mr Speaker, we've rolled out Mana Ake, a mental health support program for kids in school in Canterbury and Kaikoura, extended school-based health services, reduced the cost of going to the doctor for more than 500,000 New Zealanders, set up our Cancer Control Agency and the Suicide Prevention Office, boosted funding for Pharmac, replacing 12 radiation machines to take the pressure off DHBs. We're rebuilding our health workforce with 1,400 more nurses, 580 more doctors, 530 more allied health workers, addressing major infrastructure issues at Auckland City Hospital, Green Lane, Middlemore, obviously Dunedin, just to name a few. Mr Speaker, I have a long list. I've just started on health. I'm not sure if you'll oblige me to allow to continue with housing, education and a range of others. But Mr Speaker, perhaps I'll leave it to the members' supplementary.
Order. I'm going to remind people in the galleries that they are not allowed to get involved in this question period, and as someone who knows the consequences of becoming involved from the galleries, I strongly recommend that people in the galleries don't.
Supplementary. Why did the Prime Minister perhaps forget to mention Kiwi Build, the public house waiting list, Auckland Light Rail, material hardship for children?
Order. The members asked 2 supplementaries. That's it.
Mr Speaker, because the primary didn't allow me to get past the first part of health, let alone get into transport, housing and a number of other areas where I am very proud of our record, Mr Speaker.
Why didn't the Prime Minister mention that after her intervention at Ehu Matau, there are more houses cancelled that would have been built there than Kiwi Build managed to build in 3 years?
Mr Speaker, I actually reject the premise of that question, but if the member would like to give me...
Order!
If the member would like to give me another platform to talk about this government's record of building more houses than any other government since the 1970s, of retrofitting our state houses to give them another 50 years of life through $50 billion. Please sit down, I'm not finished.
Order. I'm anticipating a point of order, and I think the Prime Minister has gone beyond what was asked of her.
Supplementary. Why did the Prime Minister perhaps forget to mention that her government inherited a $6 billion surplus for 2020 and turned it into a $1 billion deficit even before the COVID crisis hit?
A point of order, the Right Honourable.
You surely, very close to the end of this session, will realise that there is a rule where you cannot ask the government member a patchy question enabling that member to attack the opposition.
I think the member has a history of not being helpful with this point of order, which the one point that I'll give him is his consistency through this parliament. David Seymour, ask it again.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. So the Prime Minister, why did she perhaps forget to mention that her government inherited a forecast $6 billion surplus for 2020, but by the end of last year, Treasury forecast a $1 billion deficit for this year, even before COVID hit?
Mr Speaker, because I only got to health. Let's do the economy. I'm happy, of course, Mr Speaker, to stand on our record of delivering GDP growth close to an average of 2.3%, which was higher than the 2.1% of the last government. We delivered $13 billion worth of surpluses and got our net debt relative to GDP under 20%. Were it not for that positioning, Mr Speaker, we would be in a much worse position going into COVID-19. As it stands, relative to many other OECD nations, our debt will be lower even after our spending on things like the wage subsidy because of the preliminary work we did and the position we put us in.
Supplementary.
the Prime Minister forget to mention there are over 2,250 more police have graduated out into our communities than when we came into government?
No, I've had enough of those patsies.
Why did the Prime Minister perhaps forget to mention her government's total failure to make any tangible progress on the highly confused Dominion Road Light Rail project, which runs right along the border of her electorate?
Mr Speaker, because I didn't get to transport, where I'm happy, of course, to report that over 2,000 kilometres of safety improvements have been made. The $6 billion needed for ATAP to make sure that we're delivering a range of modes for Aucklanders and reduce congestion. And, Mr Speaker, when it comes to the issue of light rail, which I don't believe either that member or that member supported, but seems very interested in it now, yes, we didn't get agreement across parties, but that has not stopped other progress in the area of transport.
No.
Why is it so...
Order. The members had 4 supplementaries already. The Honourable David Parker. A point of order, David Seymour.
Mr Speaker, can I just clarify, are you counting my repeat of a question after...
Absolutely. Sorry.
Point of order, Mr Speaker.
No, sorry? Well, in that case, I apologise to the member. It just feels like a lot.
Well, Mr Speaker, people might have to get used to it. Mr Speaker...
Order. All members will settle down. I think all of us know that in the next 3 months there's going to be a bit of a turnover, and we won't be focusing too much on it. David Seymour.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. To the Prime Minister, why is it so difficult just to answer a question and accept that some of the things the Prime Minister promised, she's failed?
Member will resume his seat. He knows that's not a question. The Honourable David Parker.
Can the Prime Minister confirm the recent endorsement by David Seymour of the proposed repeal and replacement of the Resource Management Act, including Mr Seymour's kind acceptance that this is more than the prior government achieved over the prior 9 years?
Oh, Mr Speaker, I expect that was the supplementary the member was going to ask, given that he's given me so many opportunities this question time.
A point of order, David Seymour.
I seek leave to ask an additional supplementary question at the expense of the Labor Party. Order. I hear some objection. I think it's fair to say that I will put it to the House, but I think it's fair to say that not long after the member completed it, I got an vindication from a sparring partner that he wouldn't get permission. Is there any objection? Yes. There appears to be objection. That concludes oral questions. I understand it's the government's intention to